as I get my, oh, well, here we go. Hey! I did it, finally. Crazy night around in my house. Not super prepared, but there's kind of two things on the agenda tonight. One is I'm going to be watching Twitter because I had mentioned it on Trisha's show. I'm pulling it up right now. Maybe I'm pulling it up. Hold on one second. You guys mind that I'm calling you Sushi Crew? I kind of like it. It reminds me of like Gucci Crew. It makes me feel like I'm just a little edgy. Okay, so here we go. I will share my screen with you in 1 second. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. This Dave Faraday, he is from he's a local reporter to the North Carolina area in Watauga County. And it says, breaking, Watauga County, a body has been found near a popular overlook along the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sheriff's deputies are confirming a male was discovered dead near the Thunder Hill Overlook near Blowing Rock. Park rangers, the SEI, and sheriff deputies are investigating. And then he updated that to say later on, let's see. Sheriff's deputies are now confirming to Channel 9 that this is a death investigation. This is a photo of the Thunder Hill Overlook near where the body was found. This photo is from last fall. So we'll see. Keep our eyes on it. He hasn't updated it now, but I'm going to be looking at it during the stream. So that is the first thing on the agenda for tonight, I would say, or what I'm preoccupied with. So let's see. What I am going to talk about tonight is just two things. Well, actually, there's one. There's one thing. I'm going to talk about. Well, let me get back to where I can see you guys. And I need to stop sharing my screen. I don't want to share anymore. I thought we'd put a little romance in our Saturday night. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think even if you say you don't need a little sauciness in your life, you're lying to yourself. And, well, tonight I thought we'd read some. Oh, I just noticed my jacket in the background behind here. Sorry. I had to go somewhere earlier, and I did have that on, but it's way too hot. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. Where was I? I think we all need a little romance in our lives. And when I thought about who could bring it to us the best and who could be most inspiring to light those inner fires and get our heart going and just kind of get us all in the mood. And the first name that came to mind, do you guys want to guess? Guess who came to mind? Barry White. Hi, IBME. Take a guess. Take a guess. Ding, ding, ding. Bernadette, you're the winner. It's Chad Daybell, you guys. Not only is he an author, but he writes some saucy stuff. Oh, Gray Hughes. I love it. Pierce Brosnan. No. Ping. Ping. Nope. Ooh, why are we talking about inner thighs? I haven't gotten that far yet, you guys. I need a little warm up. I don't know if you can say the FOREPLAY word on YouTube, but yeah, I just thought we'd get down with some naughty Mormons, and so it's gonna be a little juicy. And at any time, I'm gonna go ahead and do this really quick. I promised somebody that I would, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? Promised somebody that I would send them a link, and no, I don't know how to do it. So give me 1 second here and let me figure this out, because I'm on my computer and I need to send it on my phone. And I think I could do this. Doing some funky things here. Oh. Okay. Nope. Oh my God. You guys, I don't know what I just did. Anyway, sorry. Now that you're all deaf, I have to tell you though, you were gonna be deaf anyway, because you were gonna be reading the Love Ballads of Chad. So this link right here is for anybody that wants to join me. It's also for the if the L mom ever wants to hop in, if the We're Not Mom always wants to hop in, totally, I would love that. But yeah, I did open a porthole, Candy Williams, a big old. Well, actually, I'm gonna warn you guys, I'm a little slap happy tonight, and I think you guys know that when I get that way, I take things way too far. So if you see it, be a friend, help a friend. Let's have an intervention. Don't let me do that to myself on YouTube. Yeah, it did sound like the movie Psycho. It did. It's just, it is what it is. It's me. It's, I'm the producer. There used to be this skit on In Living Color. If you guys remember that show, it was called Jamaicans on a Plane. And there were like these three guys, and they would always be like, telling everybody else they were lazy. Like people would be like, I have to get to, this flight can't be delayed because I have to get to my meeting in San Francisco. And the guy would be like, you're so lazy, you only have one job. Like I fly the plane, I clean the plane, I navigate, I service the plane, I change the plane's tires. Like that's how I feel like with StreamYard, because they don't completely have it down. I feel like I'm the producer, the responsible for the poor lighting. The hair and makeup person needs to be fired. I haven't gotten that right. So it's just everything. And I did bring a bobby pin. So for those of you who are super annoyed that I touched my hair, I'm sorry, my bangs are growing out, and I may have to just pin them, and that's fine. And I will do that on the air because I get to do what I want. So anyway, you guys remember that show? It was pretty funny. Yeah, it was a long time ago, and I think that's where J-Lo started. She was what do they call them? She was like a fly girl in the back, like dancing. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So anyway, oh, your cat. Oh, I'm sorry. I scared your animals and everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, growing out bangs is the worst. So, any tips on that? Let me know, because I'm ready to cut them again. But anyway, my safe word is gummy bear. Oh my gosh, I don't know if that's a good idea. My kids play this song on a loop all the time. It's like Gummy Bear or something. Oh my god, it drives me crazy. Yeah, J-Lo was a fly girl. Mm-hmm. Too funny. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up. Hold on, right here. And I'm going to I'm gonna do this first. Give me 1 second, folks. 1 second. I name the things I send to myself weird things so that only I know what they mean. And then I confuse myself and I say, self, what does this possibly mean? So pull this up, and I think I heard the doorbell ring, and there's somebody backstage. Ooh, it's the L mom. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring the L mom on, and maybe she could be like a fly girl, and we'll just get jiggy with it tonight with Chad. Hey.
I cannot dance. At all. I was a swimmer, so I'm sorry. No dance tricks for you.
No. Oh well, I'm not a dancer either. I mean, I do a mean robot. Actually, I like disco, but that's like, that's just me being like, I wish I was at Studio 54 and that's my thing. But yeah, I mean, I like all kinds of music, but I will dance to that. And then my kids are like, stop, you're knocking over furniture. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's usually my wife saying, don't dance. Just
don't.
No.
This is not a good look. It's like,
stop.
I think like in my mind, I kind of think like it looks like good, but it's kind of like Elaine from Seinfeld. There's like a leg flying out, neck jerking. I'm getting electric shock therapy. Oh my God, somebody give her epilepsy medication. They're saying they can do the hokey pokey. I could do that. I could do the hokey pokey.
The hokey pokey?
With some flair, like a little, I don't know, like a little, what they call pop in the hip action. Or I could do it kind of like, let's see. I could do like Fosse and then put your right hand in. Wiggle it off.
Could that be our code word instead of pretty bird? We're like hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey. Fosse style. And gummy bear out.
What was the other one besides pretty bird?
It was like Bad Day Fred or something.
Oh yeah. I was like, what? And I was like, maybe they just watched what was that movie in the 90s? Dumb and Dumber, where the kids say pretty bird.
Yeah.
Pretty bird.
Yeah, I don't know how do you work that into a conversation on a regular basis? Like, did I hear something in the background? Well, yes, you did. It was my bird. What did he say? Pretty bird. I mean, like, how do you work that in?
It's like, I just wonder. I'm like, when I was 14 and Interview with the Vampire came out, like my friends and I got really into vampires, and like we were like, oh yeah, we're like dating vampire. We didn't do any like weird shit, but I'm like, I kind of feel like this group is that they had some weird party one night, and then all of a sudden they just were making up characters and storylines. And
I know. I'm gonna go back to like I talked to the album like for a few minutes before I went live, which is, I'm sorry, that's why I was a couple minutes late. That, and I like have a really bad habit of piling stuff at the bottom of the stairs because I think it's actually going to make it up, and it doesn't. And I like knocked it all over, and there was shit everywhere. So I was like, oh no, not my life. But I was telling her, because we're both kind of competitive with things, that this is the most sorry excuse for organizing a cult and the code words and the weird stuff they do. I just always, like, I don't want to start my own cult, but I want to like put one down on paper and be like, here's how you do it. Like I can't even believe some of the stuff that, like the code words, like the pretty birds.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to know, like, what were the tryouts like? Because, like, who got cut from this group? Who was it? Because they seem to, like, accept all candidates.
Like, have you ever seen the movie Pitch Perfect?
A long time ago.
Well, yeah, it's like that. It's like the tryouts, and and Chad is like, no, she's got baloney boobs. Nope, can't do it. And Lori's just there, like with her little clipboard, like, I'm so special. And I smell a foreshadowing that at some point it won't be who's in the cult, it'll be who to kill.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Yeah. So, you guys are funny. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip over here so I can't see you. I'm gonna check Twitter real quick just to make sure that they didn't find Brian Foot as Weird Mom likes to call him, which
That's
makes me
perfect.
laugh so hard. Okay, so you guys know that they released a lot of video footage of police interviews, and um, some of them, like Zulema's was from April, Melanie's was, I believe Melanie's was updated too. No, most of them came from the day that Charles Vallow was murdered. So a lot of information, but along with that, there were some text messages and some other things. This, um, there's nothing. I want to be clear. There's nothing really funny about the Vallow case. We joke because it's just so bizarre. But if there's anything to laugh at, this is the hidden gem. So, um, they released some text messages that Chad was sending to Lori. Let's see, and it's before Tammy is dead, so I can paint the scene for you. Okay, so he says, "I'm heading to bed so that I can come snuggle tightly against you. I adore you. You are my best friend on earth and throughout eternity. See you in a minute." So I'm guessing that, like, they're in the closet. Um, he then goes on to write a novel where he's a person named James, or a story, I guess, but in Chad self publishing Legend in His Own Mind. It's a novel. Okay, you guys, trust me, it's a novel. And I'm sure it'll be featured in Oprah's book club soon, so stay tuned for that. Um, and so one of the passages from the novel reads like this: He's James and Lori is Elena. And they're introduced, or I'm sorry, he's James and he and Lori are introduced by someone Chad called Elena. And we have to assume that's Melanie Gibb. So he says, when their hands touched, he felt a shock pass through him and his heart started beating fast. Elena was gorgeous and vivacious, and James was a little intimidated. James was a little intimidated, yet honored that she would talk to him. So um, he goes on to call Lori his goddess lover, and Lori listed her in her phone. Like, you know how you name your phone numbers? She named him Bubby, Bubby, like somebody's grandmother, I guess. Um, let's see. Lori texted Chad on August 11th, 2019, and she said, "You should give all of your love and attention to your wife and family. I'm just a distraction. Go have fun with your family. I really do want you to. I just can't be in the way anymore. If things change, we can talk. We have nothing until things change anyway." So I think this is where she gives the soft ultimatum. Um, and then Chad texts her on October 5th of 2019, and it reads, "Hello, sweet angel. Big news about Tammy. Please let me know if you're awake and could talk. I love you." And the news about Tammy is that, you know, she had been taken over by a demon entity named Viola. And I don't know about you guys, but it's always like this moment of euphoria and lust and everything else. And when I find out my partner's a demon and I have to text the person I'm having an extramarital affair with, I mean, it's gross. Yeah, so he, that was his big news to his sweet angel. Um, let's see. Chad was claiming that Tammy's sister was responsible for her possession, and that Tammy would flip in her person. She was having mood swings, probably because she knew her husband was cheating. She was having, and because she was being shot at, and her husband was telling people that her veil was thinning. I mean, that would probably make me mood swingy too. Call me crazy. Um, and he says that this is because of the spirit attaching itself to Tammy. And then he said in another text, "Not fully sure of the timing for removal, But once her actions verify the differences, I don't want to wait. And then, of course, on October 19th, we have the 911 call where, Tammy's dead. So I have the text. Not the text. I have the novel, and it is courtesy of East Idaho News. And I'm going to put that up on the screen, and I'm going to try and read it with you. Just give me 1 second because I want to make sure that I can make it bigger. And it's a weird screen. So give me 1 second to do that. Zoom. All right, that looks good. All right, let me go back to StreamYard. And go to this. Share my screen, because sharing is caring. And that is not a copyrighted song, so you can't get me on that one, because I use my own original music. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, it's this one. And we go back and see how that looks. Can you guys see that? Is that big enough for you? Because I can make it bigger. I just want to see. What is this at WebSuits? Are you drinking wine again? Who gave you such things? What are you saying in my chat, Trisha Griffith? Oh, Heather Nas, you didn't get a notification? Well, I will do this. I will, from now on, I will go ahead and send it to you. I'll send it to you in Messenger where we talk. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, really weird thing. There's 2 Amy's in the stream. I only see one. And then Elmom is backstage still. Did you remove yourself? Did you want to go? And did I just add you back in? I'm sorry.
No, I'm having technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
And so I took my earphones out and then I pressed something that I shouldn't do. And then it went away.
Oh.
And so then I came back in here and I was trying to figure out how to put you back on my laptop, but I couldn't find the link.
Oh, no. Yeah, I have, so I'll tell you this. It's Halloween. You want a spooky story really quick? I have a haunted YouTube account. Sometimes it will, when I'm done with a live stream, it'll drop it 2 times. So I'll have 2 videos that are exactly the same. Sometimes it doesn't pull my thumb, I'll design a thumbnail, but when it's posted somewhere else, it will be my cover photo from YouTube's or the banner photo from True Crime Sushi on YouTube, and it never changes. So then people don't look at them because it always looks like I'm promoting the same video over and over again. My chats don't load for hours on end, and it takes almost a day, or I don't know, maybe 12 hours for my videos to, when I finish this one tonight, I won't be able to find it in on my account for another day. It's crazy.
Well, you know what? You pissed off James and Elena.
I know. I know. And now they're working their portal magic. And
yeah,
Lori has no restraint anymore. If we didn't think she had restraint before, now she's just wicked crazy. She's like, oh, I don't care. We get you and your little YouTube account too.
Yeah.
So,
She's
I don't know. All right, let me figure out what this is really quick. I saw something in the chat, and I want to make sure that everybody's okay.
Soaking, sorry.
What?
Pig. Soaking.
I don't see. I don't know what you're. I don't know what.
Yes, it's true. The rumor is true. The soaking is a real thing.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Do I need to Google it?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. I feel like we're having when Chris and my husband and I talk, and he's like, "Don't say that," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You don't know what it means," and I'm like, "Well, I know what it means." He's like, "No, you think you know what it means. You don't know what it means." So, okay. Yeah, now everybody wants to know. Lillian wants to know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, people are saying we don't need to go there. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Let's read a Daybell story. That's we're gonna do a little gosh, I so badly want to say Mormon porn, but that's like terrible. So um we won't. Um, but I just kind of did anyway, I guess.
It's okay.
I censored myself. Wow. All right, here we go. Let's see. So this is what I have. Again, you're going to see it's watermarked from East Idaho News, and I'll read it to you. It's from the Chandler Police Department. Um, and it just starts out here. It says, found on the redacted account, further messages would indicate that the talk of the restraining order was in regards to Melanie and Brandon, and we know that's Boudreaux. Continuing to read through messages between Chad and Lori, she asked him to clear, in quotes, Melanie's new house of any bad spirits. I didn't know that he was a Ghostbuster. Did you? I mean, you get a call. It's Chad. He looks like this puff marshmallow man. I think he's got his role confused. So Chad stated that he was working on the house, but he was having to break down bad spirits that Brandon created. He also stated that he was able to detect 3 listening devices in her new house, and he directed Lori to where they were.
Okay.
I didn't know he was such a Renaissance man.
No, but here's the kernel of truth.
Is that the title, or is it like
yeah, well, that's how I always have to start it. I'm like, okay, here's where the kernel is that they then turned into an extra large with movie theater butter, like totally artery clogging. There, when you give priesthood blessings, you can when you move into a new home, you can like dedicate the house. I don't know anyone that's ever done it, but like it's kind of like saging the house or just blessing the house. It's like, like people do saging. I wanted to do saging in our house because I think it's haunted, but she said no. But anyways, so that's where you start. And then he's like all of a sudden like Captain Columbo with his listening devices.
Oh, I know. Yeah. He's like freaking Inspector Gadget and Superman all in one.
Yeah.
I don't know what his deal. He's like he's a portly Swiss Army knife as well. So I mean, there's just nothing he can't do. All right. So on let's see, July 13th, 2019 at 22:08 hours, which I think is 10:08 p.m. Chad sent Lori the following message. I'm heading to bed so that I can come snuggle tightly against you. I adore you. You are my best friend on earth and throughout eternity. See you in a minute. And then they're like hearts, 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 lips, 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 fire, fire, fire. And this was dated prior to Tammy's death. So on, let's see, 7/14/2019, I noticed that Chad began to write Lori a story that was sent in many text messages throughout the day. The story seemed to be a romance novel of sorts about them, but the names were changed to James and Elena. In future text messages, Chad and Lori would refer to each other as James and Elena or Raphael and Lily. Ooh, that's
Lily.
So eloquent. And I texted the album earlier today because you guys, if you have questions about the theology part of this or any of that stuff, symbolism, ideas about symbolism, whatever, she is your go-to person. I like seriously go and subscribe to the All Moms channel. And I think I left her a voice memo today saying, I know how to look it up. I mean, I could look up a name, but I know you already know it. And I'm being lazy. So I'm asking you. And I asked her about Raphael, and she basically said, wait for it. Raphael, an angel of the Lord who participated in the restoration of all things. Doctrine and Covenants 128:21. So apparently that could have been a BS cough too, by the way. It just worked there. I'm not even going to try to take it out. Maybe I'll just wait for like the the BS moments, and that's when I'll cough. So Chad is calling himself Raphael. He's an angel of the Lord who participated in the restoration of all things, including Melanie Pulowski's new house, apparently. So, Lily, do you know? I mean, I won't, if you don't, it's not a big deal, but do you know, is Lily of any importance, Elmom?
I do not think so. I'm
Okay.
gonna look, but I think a lot of these other names, he honestly was in Family Search, which if you don't know what Family Search is, it's basically like ancestry.com, but better because it's where it's like the original ancestry, I think, that the Mormon church has. Like you have to be a member to have an account, but it's like far more in depth. And so I think what he would do is go into his Family Search and just find names. And then a lot of them too, like where he's like Moroni's wife or something. Wasn't she like Moroni's wife in a previous life? It's like, yeah, but Moroni's wife is not mentioned at all in the Book of Mormon. Like we don't even know if he had one. Jason now is like one of Helaman's stripling warriors, and you know, but he doesn't have a name. Well, there are 3,000 of them, so it's like he lost his, you know, desire to be creative and to like search for things. But yeah, I mean, women aren't mentioned in the Book of Mormon. I think four times, because I don't know. I sent you that TikTok once. Do you remember? It's like,
Yes.
yeah. So, but if I see anything, I will let you know. But I know most of the stuff that they pull are from like Doctrine and Covenants. That seems to be like their favorite part of the Book of Mormon.
I have to apologize to you. If you saw me, I had a reaction on my face. Somebody texted me the definitions. I unfortunately read it while you were talking. Snorted. Okay, hold on. Let me do my Jessica Savage because I'm so professional.
It's okay.
Okay, if there's tears coming out of my eyes, it's because, yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, oh, people didn't know about that? Like, I've known about it since high school.
Well, I think it's like in the Mormon slang, right? Like, it's not like not every, would that be a true statement?
Yeah, I would say it's like but it's true. Like, we have these little terms, and so it's just something that someone came up with and has been around until someone got on TikTok with it, and then all of a sudden it became like this big thing. But
I feel like my email account smells like a dirty litter box now.
See, but that's the thing, like, to think like people view that as like not like they're safe, like they are still virginal.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of people we're dealing with. They're like, oh, it didn't move, so therefore it's not going to get my temple recommend revoked. Yeah.
What if you're in a car going down a bumpy road? Does it still count? I want to know the ins and outs of the law.
The ins and outs. Oh God.
No, we're gonna stop.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. Oh dear. Okay, please, no more definitions while I'm trying to do this. Again, I get inappropriate. I have no boundaries, and I can't help myself. And last night I said I would cut my hair if I got 1,000 people in the chat. I kind of sort of meant it. So that's just not. All right, let's go back to the Vallow hoedown. Let's see. And that we all know who the hoe and hoedown is. It would be LulaRoe.
That's right.
So anyway, all right. So On July 14th, 2019, I noticed that Chad began to write Lori a story that was sent in many text messages throughout the day. The story seemed to be a romance novel of sorts about them, but the names were changed to James and Elena. In future texts, Chad and Lori would refer to each other as James and Elena or Raphael and Lily. We be Raphael. The following is the story that I observed between email and text messages. The text is just as it appeared in the messages and has not been corrected for grammatical errors. Friday morning, why am I saying August? October 26th, driving south on the freeway, a voice said, "You will meet an extraordinary woman today who will change your life forever." This was shocking, since such a thing seemed very unlikely at this conference. It is actually a very detailed story that began long ago on another world, and I will cover that part as I go along and the characters figure things out. Oh my God. But on the morning of October 26th, James arrived at St. George still a bit baffled by the message he had received. He unloaded his books and set up his table and joined the organizers for dinner in the main room. And guess what? I can't turn the page. That's okay. I have it on my phone. So I don't think you guys need to see it. I always have a backup plan, you guys. It's just how I roll. I also got to roll reading like a mole because it's on my phone. It's going to be tiny. I think we should change, like, every time he says his books and stuff, to his LulaRoe leggings. That would be kind of I'm just saying.
They probably have them. I see Mel P as a big LulaRoe fan.
Yes, me too. And I just thought, if I ever have merchandise, I'm going to get some Chad Daybell leggings. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
LulaRoe style. It would be like this Chad's big head in like weird places and like the seams don't match.
It's like all chin.
Yeah. All chin, just like butter, baby. Buttery. Buttery leggings. No. Hold on. Wait a minute. They're going to be toasty like s'mores because he's such a marshmallow. Got it all worked out. Okay. All right. So where did we leave Chad? James. He had arrived at the St. George and he was setting up his tables and joined the organizers for dinner in the main room. He saw his friend MG. Creative. He saw his friend MG, who had been so helpful to him when he spoke in Mesa that July. MG introduced James to her friend Elena. When their hands touched, he felt a shock pass through him, and his heart started beating fast. Elena was gorgeous and vivacious, and James was a little intimidated, yet honored that she would talk to him. He was happily surprised, in his leggings, when she mentioned a key part of the novel, the renewed Earth. No one had ever recognized the significance of that scene before. He had heard that voice before and seen that smile before. He felt that they had even talked like this before, but who could be certain when? It was strange, but he could remember. The feelings were very strong, as if they had known each other oh so long. Oh my God, now he's rhyming. I can't. They didn't get many chances to talk after that because he had to help voice a woman's blue Muppet. What? God. Now, the FBI agent did say that they didn't correct anything, so that could be autocorrect.
Okay.
It literally says, I'll put this on the community page, okay? It literally says they didn't get many chances to talk after that because he had to help voice a woman's blue Muppet. Hold on, I'm going to make this, make this really big. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. See if you guys can see it. Where's the camera? Where's the camera? It's like up here somewhere. Oh my God, you guys.
I know, it's the opposite. It's so weird.
There we go. Do you see Blue Muppet?
Oh my gosh.
That's what it says. It's not a word that Amy can't pronounce. Yes, I'm talking. It's a. Oh wait, it might be. We have Raphael and Lily, and that is a Moupe de Blue. it's a Moupe. I just don't know how to say it because, yeah, it's not a word I can't pronounce. I get that a lot when I do this, and people are like, "Oh, you spell it. Maybe we can help you pronounce it." It says Muppet. Do you see Muppet? So,
Is there like an app to do like reverse transcription errors? Because like I tried to transcribe one of the general conference talks, and every word was wrong because it was one of the general authorities that has a very thick accent, and it was. I was basically like, why did I even put it through the transcriber? So is there like an app that can fix that?
I don't know, but now that I think about it, I mean, you guys were using. They thought I said muffin. No, I said Muppet, like Rover. And there's something weird about saying that he had to help voice a woman's blue Muppet. Like is that something dirty? I don't know. Anyway, but he watched her every chance he could. He had to stay at a relative's house that night, but he hardly slept. He hardly slept.
Oh.
Envisioning himself with Elena in every wonderful situations that indicated they had been more than just friends. James, oh my gosh. James was the speaker on Saturday morning and knew exactly where Elena was sitting. He made sure to mention the scene from his book that they had discussed the previous evening. He was completely smitten by her and even was nervous of what she would think of his talk as he spoke. But when he would glance at her, she was always attentive and watching him, unlike the rest of the crowd. After his talk, he went to his book table. His talk had gone well, and there was a good group gathered around to buy books. His heart nearly leaped out of his chest when Elena joined him and helped sell the books. She was so beautiful that he could hardly concentrate on the customers. Okay, here's a tip for you. Book salesman is not the sexiest job. So, yeah, if you're going to write a romance novel and you're going to be like Raphael or James, Jaime in Spanish, if we want to go there. If you want to be like Jaime, probably not selling self-published books at a Holiday Inn. Just saying. Get a little creative. Use your flair, Chad. It could have been anything. So, but maybe it's too late for that. You might have a lot of time, though, in jail. So if you're listening, that's my tip for you. Okay. So she's helping him sell the book. She just jumped right in there. Elena, I could feel her hair blowing in the, Holiday Inn conference room breeze. She probably smelled like the breakfast buffet. It's all wonderful. Let's see. She straightened the books and gave the books great reviews, although she made him laugh a lot when she kept pushing the Youth of Filth volumes of his first season. Oh Lord.
Oh.
You guys, I didn't, spoiler alert, I didn't read this all the way through.
Youth of Filth?
Yes, it says she straightened the books and gave the books great reviews, which is probably based on fact because Melanie and Lori like to go and review Chad's books.
They're probably all 5-star reviews.
Yeah, better than Cats. I want to read it again and again. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, it says she straightened the books and gave the books great reviews, although she made him laugh a lot when she kept pushing the Youth and Filth. Wait, is it Filth? Fifth. Sorry, I like Filth better, but let's keep it real. The Youth and Fifth volumes of his first series. So that's weird.
Keto and Crime probably knows what that is. She knows all his books.
Lord. In another lifetime, I read some of his books on YouTube. It was not fun. Um, yeah. He could only jiggle, or oh my God, what is wrong with me? He could only giggle. Sorry. He could only giggle when people asked if she was his wife, because yes, in fact, she was. She just didn't know it yet. James was definitely having amorous feelings towards Elena as they sold books together. Sorry. Give me a second. You guys, I have a lot of books. I love books. I love a good used bookstore. Um, I am not a snob about very many things in my life, except for the fact that I love hardcover books. I like literally get high looking at the books that I own. There's something about them, and I like the smell of books. But this is just, I mean, an old library, and I'm like super happy. College Town Bookstore, totally happy. Portland, before it went like this, used to be my happy place. Um, yeah, this is just weird. Um, yeah. So James was definitely having amorous feelings towards Elena as they sold books together. He had not felt this happy in his entire life. He was quite sure this was the woman the voice had told him about. And James was ecstatic because he had already fallen deeply in love with her. Or better said, he remembered how much he already loved her. Yeah, that wasn't better said, Chad. Just,
My God.
It's like, I mean, this is, Chad, this is free. Take notes. Because, yeah. Her eyes had mesmerized him from the moment they met, but once the book sales slowed down, she stood near him behind the table. They looked deeply into each other's eyes for the first time, and he knew he was in the presence of a goddess. He resisted an impulse to kiss her, but his entire body was on fire.
Oh, no.
He instinctively knew she was everything he had ever dreamed of. I hate it when you end a sentence in a preposition. It's like it's an OCD thing. I can't. Oh my God, it's got to go away. All right. I must clarify that James is a very difficult person to get information from. He has been blessed with knowledge, but 99% of the people he knows do not realize that.
Yeah. That's an indication.
That's blatantly apparent. Maybe it's the other way around, buddy. It's opposite day. Yeah. Yeah. So 99% of the people didn't realize James was, a savant. It Mensa, the whole 9 yards. He is very guarded, and it's a great task to gain his trust. That as Elena leaned forward, okay, this is where it reads weird. As Elena leaned forward him and asked a couple of very insightful questions, his heart burst with joy. He knew she was the one, if the very he means of. He knew she was one of the very few people on earth he could trust. James's spirit was so excited at this revelation that he shattered a thick veil that had been placed between these two souls during their mortal lives. If anybody puts that word in the chat when I read that, I'll kill you. The thick veil had been placed because of the unique, unparalleled love James and Elena had shared in previous lifetimes. That veil had prevented them from finding each other until this appointed day that would be remembered throughout the heavens as the true beginning of a spectacular mission that would save millions of souls and defeat the forces of darkness. James's physical attraction to Lena was almost overwhelming, but he was equally drawn to the spiritual energy that was radiating from her. As they talked, it was confirmed to him that they had indeed been married before and were eternal companions. He had glimpses of them walking dusty paths together, and he realized they had been married during the life of Jesus Christ, and they had been very close to him. At this time, their spirits...
Judas.
I know. You gotta go watch the Almom's video. Is it on the Blood Atonement? Am I right?
Yeah. Are you talking about the Lafferty ones?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But for those that don't get the inside joke, Froggy Love, you guys are funny. We're just laughing because she was telling me about kicking Judas and his entrails coming out, and yeah, it was like a biblical snuff scene, and it was bad, and so
Yeah. I didn't put it in the video though.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had it in there, and then I was like, oh, we've done so many scriptural stuff to Blood Atonement. People probably aren't going to be into that, but yeah, there's a whole thing about Judas, like the apostle. I think Peter came to Joseph Smith and said that Judas was killed via Blood Atonement, and then like one of the early prophets, Heber C. Kimball, was giving a speech and was like really graphically detailing the death. He's like, they kicked him and they all gushed out. And I was like,
ew.
Geez, you guys, you could paint with words back then, couldn't you?
Right? Right?
Literally.
Yeah, seriously. Or with his intestines.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. Oh, let's see. At this time, their spirits could not be restrained any longer, and a long-awaited make-out session took place in that lobby.
No.
Woo-hoo. It's getting hot in here. Mm-hmm. This was manifest in the mortal world to James and Elena through the scientific phenomenon known as, oh my God. I'm going to show you. I'll say it at the same time. Let me find my camera. Let's see. It's opposite. It's known as, you see it? Loin fire. Loin fire.
Oh, dear.
That is so sexy. I swear. Like in my past, when boyfriends told me they had loin fire, my first instinct was to run to the pharmacy and buy them something. But now I realize that's why I would, we didn't stay together. I didn't understand.
Loin fire.
Loin fire. Oh my God.
Isn't that AKA blue balls?
Yeah. Or like, I don't know, syphilis. I don't know. Okay. So as they talked, James had a burning desire to make love to her. Oh God. But he wasn't sure she felt the same way. But they could not stay away from each other. One time she was sitting in a couch near his table, and he took a seat on a chair about 5 feet from her. She began to squirm and covered her body with her hands. She asked him, "What are you doing?" He wasn't aware of what she meant. All he knew is that if Bruce Porter hadn't been given...
Mm-mm.
What was Bruce Porter? Sorry, give me a second. All right, so she's on the couch and she's all like, "Oh, do you want some of this? Do you want some of this?" It's hot. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And Jaime, Raphael. Raphael wasn't aware of what she meant, and all he knew is that if Bruce Porter hadn't been giving them an evil eye, a child would have been conceived on that couch.
Isn't she like menopausal? When do you go through menopause?
Sorry.
Ew.
He's got some magical powers. You guys are like gross. Polly the primate is barfing. Oh my God. This is so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, loin fire.
Oh.
Ping the router says, loin fire is now in tablet form. Text 772 loin fire.
Oh, awesome. Oh, the tarp at Walmart.
Yes. Get the tarp at Walmart first.
Do you know what my first thought was, though?
What?
My first thought was that it was not to do with what people suspected as in criminal. My first thought was, oh my gosh, is this like the tapes that people talk about in Russia? Like, I was thinking something that way because he's such a creepy pervy looking guy. Like,
okay, like my mom watches. But I don't care tonight. Like, I always thought I like knew a lot of dirty, deviant things, but I have no idea what you're talking about. That's twice tonight, and I'm feeling very, very
golden showers.
vulnerable. Very vulnerable.
You know what? Yeah, Maggie. Read Maggie's comment. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, ew, ew, ew.
Well, that was.
I guess I would put out the Lori fire.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, these people are so weird and creepy. Like I don't know. And then when she was like, I wonder if he was going to kill me, I was like, oh, maybe I should have gotten there.
Well, I did call it a slip and slide last night, so
yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. Oh, Black Lab OG says, I'd be embarrassed if I had written this and now the world was seeing it. Can you even imagine? Yeah, when you guys send like weird sexty things, make sure it's good. So that when we get our hands on them, you won't be embarrassed. Oh my God, but I get what you're saying. But you know what? I honestly don't feel bad about reading this at all. I mean, there are times when like things come out in public documents and I'm like, oh, you know, that's crossing a line, or I don't feel comfortable. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. These people know.
Yeah. Okay. So when we last left off, James and Elena were suffering from experiencing a scientific phenomenon known as loin fire. As they talked, James had a burning desire to make love to her, but he wasn't sure she felt the same way. I just read that.
Oh, God.
I just read that. Okay. The erotic tension continued throughout the afternoon. James could only think of her. His desire for her was indescribable. Thankfully, she had worn 16 layers of clothing to survive the 80-degree weather, so he was not fully aware that she truly had the body of a goddess. What?
All she did was walk around in spandex and stuff.
I know. Her dimensions were exactly what he'd always fantasized about, but that revelation would have to wait a month. Or until his wife died. As the night his wife was murdered. As the night concluded, James needed to take his empty boxes to his car. With Elena's help, he had sold more books at a show than he ever had before. She helped him carry the boxes to the car, and then he could not resist this desire to hug her. He made an awkward, attempted way. Oh, I'm sorry. So there's a watermark over this part, and it's just hard to read. He made an awkward attempt that was way too brief because their friends were bringing more boxes. In that short embrace, though, he knew he had found the woman he had searched for his entire life. It was made crystal clear to him that they had been married before and would be again. He once again had to fight off a powerful urge to kiss her and somehow disguise the massive...
Whoa, oh.
All right.
He said that. Like, this is what he wrote.
Can you read it?
I can, because I'm on my phone, and apparently I need readers.
Once again, he had to fight off the massive
ejection? What?
Yes. Because I don't think I can say it on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So, let's just say Chad's a Boy Scout and Lori made him want to camp, and he did. All right. I can't talk about this stuff. I'm so red. Okay. He had a powerful urge to kiss her and somehow disguise the massive leap he was experiencing. They returned to the building, and he helped carry tables to the second floor while she sat on the couch. They couldn't take that would be the baby couch, by the way. They couldn't take their eyes off each other. He was already madly in love. Her group of friends finally had to leave. He was devastated. Unused That's what it is. That's what it says. Unused, how he would ever contact her again. I think he meant unsure. Then her spirit took over and asked him, "Can I get your cell number in case I have some questions?"
Oh my god.
I love it when my spirit is my wingman. It's like the best. Um, I mean, really. They exchanged numbers and then they gave each other a hug goodbye. It was the most wonderful, electric, delicious hug he had ever felt. Then he watched her walk away, knowing she was truly going to change his life forever. End of chapter 1. Oh my god, that's only chapter 1.
I just he should he should never have her. I mean, no. I can't even string together a sentence.
Oh my god. Your comments are so funny. I can't even. I can't. I won't say it. But I just can't. I gotta find something else to put. How many chapters? Let me see how many chapters there are. I know, well, obviously, I know there's a chapter 2. Let's see. Chapter 2 is quite long. Quite the wordsmith. Oh, there's only 2 chapters. I think we can get through chapter 2 and then wrap it up, and then we'll all have to, pour alcohol in our ears.
Yeah.
All right. You guys ready for chapter 2?
Okay.
Oh, Heather, wonder if this is available online in the jail. I'm sure Chad gathers his sheep round at night for story time.
I'm sure he has a lot of inmate friends by now.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. Nope, just I'm not gonna say what's inappropriate in my mind. All right, chapter 2. James sadly walked to his car after watching Elena disappear down the hallway, but he couldn't deny their connection and his absolute attraction to her. She still seemed way out of his league, but he nervously sent her a text before driving to his hotel. Okay. A minute passed, then 2, without a response. He kicked himself for thinking he ever had a chance with her, and then his phone buzzed. Elena had texted back. His heart soared, and over the next few hours, he texted back and forth dozens of times. He knew he was staying at a home in Tokerville, and he desperately wanted to. I mean, really, Chad, Tokerville, just like Hooterville,
Utah.
like really. I mean, the creative license. Okay, he was staying at a home in Tokerville, and he desperately wanted to drive there and whisk her back to the hotel for a night of reconnection and romance.
Like 20
He
minutes
twice
away.
got redressed during the night to go see her, but the spirit gently said, "Have patience. Everything will work out as it's supposed to." They finally stopped texting around 4 a.m. When he closed his eyes to sleep, and he was taken again to their previous life together. The intense passion of their lovemaking was a sight to behold. He knew it would be difficult, but he could be patient if it meant he could experience that type of love just once in his life. As he lay in the hotel bed, it was as if her spirit had joined him. I'm so sorry, you guys. They wrapped around each other and kissed gently, then intensely, and the emotions they shared were not of this world. It was out of this world, man. James woke up in the hotel room feeling happier than he had in his entire life. Wait, I thought he was sleeping in Tokerville.
I don't even know how many hotels there. Well, there are really motels in Tokerville.
In Holiday Inns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he knew he was staying at a home in Tokerville, but now he woke up in a hotel, so I don't know. Maybe the portal dropped him off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. As he lay in the hotel bed, it was as if her spirit had joined him. They wrapped around each other and they kissed gently, then intensely, and the emotions they shared were not of this world. James woke up in a hotel room feeling happier than he had in his entire life. It felt like he and Elena had fit together perfectly in every way. He rolled over to kiss her, but then reality struck. She was actually more than 20 miles away in Tokerville, with their Arizona friends. My God, those Arizona friends. He texted her and she quickly responded. He deeply regretted not going to be with her the night before. It was as if he already knew the taste of her lips and his hands knew every curve of her body. He knows his dreams were somehow real and that they were actually traveling to each other in a higher dimension. He hungered for her in ways he didn't think were possible. The voice was right. Elena was going to change his life forever. Yeah, she was going to land your ass in prison. That's what happens. Um, he packed his suitcase and began driving north on the freeway. As each mile passed, James could feel Elena's spirit beckoning him to join her. As he approached the Tokerville exit, it took every ounce of willpower to keep driving on the freeway. His attraction to her was beyond magnetic. He felt their souls were two halves of an eternal union. Tears filled his eyes as he passed the freeway exit. He desperately yearned to embrace her and tell her he deeply loved her, as crazy as that sounded, but he knew he would be seeing her in 3 weeks later at a conference in Arizona. It seemed like an eternity away, but he sensed it would be a very significant weekend for them. He already was crazy about her, and his feelings of admiration and affection for her would only grow more intense and wonderful. During this long drive home, James was able to text back and forth with Elena, and he shouldn't be texting and driving, I'm just saying. James was able to text back and forth with Elena, and it was clear that they were extremely compatible and shared the same interests. It felt like talking to a long distance best friend. When he arrived home, he searched the internet for anything about her, but there was nothing. She was a fascinating mystery that he wanted to spend the rest of eternity with. At the end of his drive, let's see. At the end of his drive, she suggested that they talk on the phone the next day. Sorry, Chad's a crappy writer. He was thrilled at the thought of hearing her voice again, and he was falling madly in love with her by the minute. When James heard her voice Monday morning, the euphoria he felt Saturday came rushing back stronger. They talked for 2 hours, but it seemed to be only minutes. He was obsessed with her and couldn't get enough. During that phone conversation with Elena, James realized he already had a strong understanding of the many truths he had been taught regarding how the universe really worked. The lounge fire and obsession with each other so I think lounge fire is supposed to be loin fire, but the loin fire and obsession with each other had no real explanation unless they truly had a spiritual connection before this life. He was able to help clarify many of the promptings and oppression she had felt in recent years. She knew she had lived on this earth before, and James was able to clarify when. Well, thank God she found him. I mean, it would be distressing, I know. Oh. They had been married before on this earth, and other times on a previous earth. Their love truly spanned the universe and eons of time. They knew the Lord had brought them together again for a crucial mission that only they could accomplish as a united couple. During the next week, they spoke every day for at least an hour, but often longer. They hungered to know everything about each other. This was a new experience for James to open up and share the true feelings of his heart, but he knew he could trust her completely. The bond between them was intense, and only the vast distance between them kept their passion for each other from roaring into a blazing inferno. She quickly became his best friend, or better said, he likes that word, doesn't or that term, or better said, two best friends. We're two best friends. Remember the hangover?
We brush each other's hair at night.
I braid her leg hair because she doesn't shave. Okay. That's why she has the leggings on. Okay. Or better said, two best friends had reunited, and their prior love was now ignited again in a wonderful, heavenly way. As November began, James and Elena had talked on the phone every day since last seeing each other. He was extremely impressed with her intelligence, personality, and subtle humor that made him laugh more than he had in his lifetime. She was a complete delight to talk to, and the highlight of his day when he could hear her magical voice. It was so familiar to him, it was actually healed and soothed his heart and soul. They would both attend the same event in mid November, and it seemed like that day would never arrive. Each day they opened their hearts to each other a little more. James knew he could trust her with the mysteries of the universe that had been revealed to him. Good Lord. He knew they had been married before. How many times does he have to say this? Does he read his own stuff? He knew they had been married before and they had been close friends with the Savior when he lived in Jerusalem. Oh my God, they're homies and like kicking it old school, old hood. You know, you remember me? I'm just Raphael from the block. Yeah. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. Yeah. Okay. So James had served in an important position for the Lord's church, and Elena had been his beloved spouse and best friend. Their relationship was now meant to continue in this lifetime. In Jerusalem, James and Elena had enjoyed tremendous intimacy. Oh, good. Guard your loins, folks. All right. Their physical desire for each other was unmatched, and they were fortunate that they could be alone morning, noon, and night, and they seized every chance to passionately express their love to each other. They simply could never get enough, even after many years of marriage. Everyone knew they were crazy about each other, and they were a wonderful example of how spouses should cleave together in love and unity. James, cleave.
That's like that's Joseph Smith said that a lot, and it just cleave.
Yeah, it's like I mean, waiting for him to drop equally yoked somewhere. I mean, just give it to me, baby. Okay. So James had visions of how they would happily and joyfully pleasure each other in his office. I may not be coughing. I'm going to be dry heaving. If you guys don't want to hear about, like, I mean, I think we've crossed some lines tonight already, and I apologize. But it's about to get, yeah, Gary. I see you. I see you, Gary, shaking that thing. Yeah, it's about to get down. Okay, so let's see. James had vision of how they would happily and joyfully pleasure each other in his office. They had two favorite positions that particularly bonded them together. I can't do this. Bonded them together. Nothing meant more to James than holding Elena in his arms and unifying their bodies in perfect synchronization. So if there's movement, then it's not the thing. Just yes now. So, I mean, the office chair is a rockin', so doesn't count. No, it does count. It does count. Okay, as James and Elena talked on the phone, he tried to delicately describe their connection to each other. He was delighted that she believed him. He also shared that they had been married other times in the previous world, and she accepted that information as well. James was overjoyed to have these memories restored to him because he truly loved her with all his heart. He knew they were meant to be married again and complete important missions together before the second coming. He was ecstatic that she was receiving confirmation of these things as well. As they talked on the phone, the spiritual connection was so intense that it also produced physical desires, and it was as if their spirits were making love despite the great distance between them. James knew his spirit was visiting her during those conversations. He also became aware that his spirit would visit her at night, and they would wrap around each other in a sensual embrace. Kissing her was so wonderful and real, and he knew that the next time they saw each other, he needed to kiss her. He wouldn't be able to resist holding her. He was absolutely in love with her in every way. By the time the sex... I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
That was me. That wasn't even written there. I don't know what I'm doing. By the time the conference arrived, James and Elena had become very close to their phone conversations, but he desperately needed to see her again. She agreed to pick him up at the airport and take him to his hotel. He was extremely nervous, worried that the spark they had felt earlier might not be there. But as she arrived at the airport and he opened the car door, his heart nearly burst at the sight of her smile. She was stunningly gorgeous, and as they gripped each other's hands, the electricity was tangible. The love between them was powerful and real. The hotel was only a short distance away, and he invited her into the room. They were soon standing alone in the room, and he put his arm around her and looked into her gorgeous blue eyes. They hungered for each other. They had hungry eyes. Or Dirty Dancing. She liked 80s love songs. They hungered for each other, or maybe she was hungry like a wolf. I don't know. They hungered for each other, or maybe they were playing Hungry Hungry Hippos. I don't know. Oh my God, Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Oh,
Yep, there we go. That was their code name for Charles, which doesn't make any sense here, but whatever. Um, Not making fun of Charles Vallow at all, just making fun of them and their stupid Mormon love story. Okay, so they hungered for each other, and he leaned forward and fulfilled a promise he had made to her a few days earlier. He gently kissed her tender lips, and the same heavenly electricity filled his entire body. The passionate magic they had felt many centuries earlier came surging back powerfully. James moved to the couch, and Elena straddled him effortlessly.
oh God, he's a horrible writer.
That's so sexy. Oh, yeah. So Elena straddled him effortlessly, as if they had done this thousands of times before. She fit perfectly on him, and they pressed their loins tightly against each other. I should have lit a candle or something. Feeling like, I don't know, I wasn't prepared for this. The feeling was exquisite, and they both smiled and moaned at the sensations passing between them. They were still fully clothed, but the intensity of the intimacy was undeniable. James felt the powerful desire to bless Elena at that time. I bet he did. As they stayed in that favorite position, he moved his hand to her head and began to cleanse and purify each part of her body. He could feel the pains and troubles she had endured throughout her life being removed from her soul and being taken outside and destroyed. James's hands worked their way down her body and lingered briefly on her beautiful breasts. Oh my God. She truly had the body of a goddess, and he was experiencing an indescribable mix, I can't even talk anymore, of physical and spiritual ecstasy. He soon concluded the cleansing of her body from head to toe, and then filled her body with a balm of light and love. Oh, he was being Luke from Star Wars and used his lightsaber, I guess.
Wow.
He made her his Princess Leia, but that was his sister, so that doesn't work either. I don't know. James could see the happiness in her eyes, and instinctively their mouths came together again. The fire was burning strongly with them both, and as their kissing grew more intense, he gently said, "I love you, Elena." Oh my gosh. These words sparked a frenzy within them. Their tongues effortlessly entwined, and their hips gyrated in a smooth, erotic rhythm. Two lovers, long separated, were finally united in heavenly bliss. After a few minutes of excitement, pleasure, and fun on the couch, gosh, she's such a romantic, James and Elena both felt compelled to change into more comfortable clothing. James out in some athletic shorts and a blue shirt, and Elena put on a stunning black top and tight leggings. I'm not making this up. Elena put on LulaRoe. The top revealed just enough, but not too much, and James was overjoyed at the sight. James took her in his arms, and they smiled at each other. The vibration in the room was intense, and their hearts reached out to each other in glorious reunion. James gently touched the sides of Elena's breasts, and he was in ecstasy. She stood on her tiptoes and gave him a sensual kiss that sent electricity through his body. They moved toward the bed and were quickly entwined around each other. She was so beautiful, loving, and enchanting that James could hardly breathe. They were both aroused, but he knew there were limitations on what could occur that night. But they kissed for nearly an hour and pressed against each other tightly. Toward the end of the evening, oh, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Toward the end of the evening, Elena laid on her stomach at the end of the bed, and James caressed her fabulous body. He grasped her perfect bottom with both hands, and she expressed how much she loved that. Oh my God. He's a peach squeezer. She soon sat up and straddled him again as they passionately kissed farewell. They knew they would see each other again I guess they would see each other again in the morning, but the separation seemed too long. That they knew that the long wait to find their eternal match had come to an end, and James was overjoyed beyond description. James and Elena had agreed to visit the temple in the following morning. Again, I'm reading this just how it's written, okay? She returned to the hotel room, and after additional romance on the couch, oh my God, they calmed their nerves enough to give each other a blessing. As James placed his hand on her head, he connected with Elena's true eternal self. He knew he was in the presence of an exalted goddess who had returned to Earth to perform a special mission. This mission included being with him, and they would progress together as translated beings. The full plan wasn't yet completely clear to him, but the immense power radiating from her confirmed his belief that she was among the greatest women in the universe. She then gave him a tremendous blessing that helped him realize how much she truly loved him and wanted to be with him forever. He was deeply humbled that such an incredible woman regarded him so highly. His heart burned as she blessed him, and he had glimpses of and he had glimpses come to his mind not only of their life in Jerusalem, but even as a couple on the previous earth. He knew they'd been eternal companions for eons, and their love was beyond celestial. They embraced following the blessings, and the emotions they felt were a mixture of eternal bliss and celestial desire. Telestial desire. Their sexual chemistry was undeniable, but the spiritual unity was a glorious bonus for them both. They had only known each other for 3 weeks, but two lonely, misunderstood souls had finally found their best friend, and they could trust and confide in one another. They arrived at the temple, and they both felt like they should do sealings together. They were soon seated in a sealing room facing each other. Elena looked so stunning as she smiled at him. She seemed calm, while he felt quite nervous. Their opportunity soon came to kneel across the altar from each other, and as the sealer pronounced those sacred words, James and Elena knew they were now sealed as husband and wife for eternity. As
Oh,
earthly sealing was taking place, a similar scene involving their spirits was happening on a higher plane, where they kissed and unified their souls. They knew they had just begun a new journey together, and that was eternal and never ending. And we're gonna go on, but I'm gonna stop right here because I know that you are probably losing your mind at that.
I, I'm sorry. They were okay.
Yeah.
So it must have been by proxy, and they just were like, "No, it. Oh my, jeez,
Mm-hmm.
is this Saint George?"
Yes, that's where he sets the story, is St. George.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, so I was kind of right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh,
We've been trying to figure out how they did their sealing, how they got access to the temple. Was it because Lori was she was like a clerk there, right?
yeah. Well, at the Gilbert one, she was in the records room, and so
Right.
like,
Chad was a clerk, right?
no, well, he's a ward clerk in
Yeah.
Idaho.
Yeah.
So at first, I was like, absolutely not. There's no way they could have broken in. And then, people were saying it was the the Mesa Temple. Well, the Mesa Temple has been closed since 2018. And then the St. George Temple came up. And that was the only way I could figure it out, was they must have done a proxy ceremony and then just, oh God, they're so sick. So sick.
So I'm sorry, I turned off my camera for a second. Maggie says, "Do we know for sure who sealed them? Was his Jason Mao? Was it Jason Mao?" So I'm assuming you're referencing real life. It seems.
Well,
It's funny. Go ahead. please.
There are only so many sealers assigned to temples, and they're pretty like high up. You know, like you can't just be a sealer. Like you're assigned to a
Right,
temple and stuff. Jason Mao, as far as I know, has never held a position that high.
right.
He's a seminary teacher, but so he's an employee of the church now, I guess. But I think it was probably just a regular old person that worked at the St. George
Mm-hmm.
Temple.
Mm-hmm.
But their network is so much bigger than I thought it was. It could have been someone that they knew, but I don't think it was
Yeah.
Jason Mao.
Yeah. And I mean, we're laughing at this, but it's becoming very evident that this is basically like kind of a effed up outline of their relationship and locations and places.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody in chat said that Tokerville is a real, real town by St. George.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just a little tiny.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of those little towns, Virgin, and
So we could go back and look at when Chad was speaking and selling his books and match up dates, because this is October and then now we're in November. We could
yeah.
literally start matching up dates. Webspace is funny. What in the name of all that is holy are these two doing? They both make my gag reflex work overtime. Yeah, for real.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Let's see. And I'm sorry, you guys. I had to put a cough drop in my mouth, though. It was rude, but I can't. Serious question for El Mom. This sealing would seal them forever, but if they were married and sealed already in several lifetimes, would they need to be sealed again? I don't know. Are the seals like stay fresh? I mean,
like, no, I mean, like, if you're sealed eternally. So, like, I don't, like, yeah. Yeah, you'd be sealed to someone eternally. So if they were, there would have been no need. Like, they just don't make a damn bit of sense. But
no.
like, I think their network is much bigger than what I was even thinking in the beginning. I was like, oh, but now I'm going, okay, there's something.
Yeah,
and
how far does this go?
Yeah, and Gary Chadwick's right. Like, I don't think they did anything that would have been recognized by the church.
Right.
But they were enabled by people that I think did have access to some things, or
and this lends credit to things that Crusha K. Easton has been saying.
Yeah,
that you think you have the roots, but there's like a root ball, and it is like 4 inches down, and it is radiating out everywhere. Like you don't even know.
Yeah, because the group that they were involved with, which I don't know, at what point does it go from a group to whatever? But
yeah, to a cult.
Yeah, the cast of characters that they were involved with, like, you have to think Lori wasn't the only one that was probably volunteering at a temple. Like, a lot of people, when they are really into that, more of the fundamentalist or more of this hippy dippy stuff, there's going to be friends that volunteer in other temples. I know that Nancy James, I think her mom was a temple worker in Provo. Like, so, and in Southern Utah, it's not a big community. Like, it's pretty small townish. And so, yeah, I don't buy this whole timeline that I think it was Melanie Gibb that sold it. Like, it just seems so.
Yeah. So there's 2 things I want to, if you don't mind, that I want to talk about before we move on. Maggie said, but didn't they sneak off to a secret room and perform a sealing? Like the people who run the temple didn't know what the hell was going on. So that's question 1. And then question 2 is, hold on. It was something about, oh, here we go. Paisley Dream says, what is proxy ceremony if they were both there? Can you explain that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So proxy ceremony, when I reference those, that's like work for the dead. So if you've ever heard of baptisms for the dead, you can also do other ceremonies for the dead. So you can do a sealing ceremony for the dead. And usually how it works is you either take names into the temple. So your ancestors that have passed that never had a chance to receive the gospel, you would take their names in, or they have names at the temple and you would do the work for those people. So they would have done this sealing ceremony with the understanding that they were doing it for people who have passed on. But they just, I think, they were like viewing it as themselves with the technical, it's not making sense.
Well, it makes sense. No, it makes sense. But I also put you on the spot because it came up in chat and I wanted to be able to address it. And I told the L mom today I really want to defer these questions because in a past life I was trying really hard to dig through things and um, provide answers, but not being LDS and not being a theology or a theologian, um, I'm not really qualified to do that. And so those questions, like, really, if you guys have questions, I will totally get them to her. Go to her page and ask her, or because she hits the nail on the head and she knows how to explain it. So
Yeah.
on that note, I am gonna go ahead and let's see. Carna Street says hi.
What was that other question, or was that it? Did I answer?
They wanted to know how the proxy works, if it was, if they were both there, and then Penguin said, let's see, the ceiling forever. Let me see. Oh, Maggie. But didn't they sneak off to a secret room and perform a sealing? Like the people who run the temple didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, that's what people thought. And I was always saying,
Yeah.
I don't see how that would be possible because the security at temples is, I mean, those temples are they're full of gold and shit. Like they're not going to just kind of let you wander around. Like you may think that nobody's watching, but there's someone watching. I mean, they have the state of the art systems. And so, I don't think, like, my theory was always that it didn't even happen at a temple, it happened somewhere else, or that it was something where they were doing this proxy ceremony, temple work for the dead, and they just were like, okay, we're going to do, like, they were just going to insert their own names into whatever ceremony. So just, I guess, not listen to what the name of what the sealer was using. And then I thought, well, if Lori worked in the records department, maybe she was able to do something there, like print off names. I don't know much about that part, but
this is interesting. Hold on. Miss Peaches says, in their minds, they were sealing themselves. To others, it appeared to be a proxy sealing. And I think that's probably. Thank you for that. That is perfect. We're trying to make it all difficult, and you just solved the Scooby-Doo mystery. Yep.
Thank you so much, because I'm like, how do I explain?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. In their minds, they were sealing themselves, but to onlookers, it looked like they were doing a proxy sealing.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Wow. Yeah, but I think everyone, like, the theory was always Mesa, and I was like, well, Mesa was closed, and so I was thinking Gilbert, but it sounds like St. George, which in my opinion, I just don't think that that's a short timeline, but I mean.
Yeah. Well, and then Gary also, and I think this is worthy of consideration too. And so thank you guys for commenting. Gary Chadwick says, if Chad and Lori weren't there, someone may have done it in their name. If Chad and Lori was, there wouldn't be proxy. And that is correct. That is the correct way. I think both of those comments together gives us an idea of like what may have happened and maybe some of our best guesses to date about how all of this took place.
Yeah.
So, all right. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I won't be able to sleep if I don't get through chapter 2. So, I have to find my place. Sorry about sharing my cough drop. I apologize, but and that's just, my voice is still kind of like ugh. So, um, all right. So we already read they arrived at the temple. So the last sentence of that paragraph is they knew they had just begun a new journey together that was eternal and never ending. After the sealing, they went to lunch together and they felt so comfortable together. Everything felt so right. James could look into her eyes forever, unless he was gently kissing her and telling her how much he loved her. Even when they held hands, there was a powerful vibration that exceeded the telestial world. They attended the conference, but their thoughts were completely focused on each other. James gave a talk that was well received and sparked great interest in his books. Elena joined him at the selling table, and they sold more than 359 books within a couple of hours. Okay. But all they really wanted to do was slip away and express their love for each other. They went to dinner with some friends, but afterwards they were able to find some time alone. They drove to a secluded area and slipped into the back seat. Elena was wearing a pair of incredibly sexy jeans, and as she straddled James in the back seat, he once again grasped her fantastic bottom. She pushed him back into a reclining position, and their loins fit perfectly together. They kissed passionately and rhythmically pulsated against each other.
Okay.
Love was intense and undeniably real. James was now madly, crazily in love with her, and it was so wonderful to know she felt the same way about him. One powerful moment happened earlier that day when Elena was listening to another speaker while James stayed at the table. But he thought he heard Elena say, "Come stand behind me." Oh no, I don't think I want to know where this is going. Um, He went into the room and saw her standing against a wall. He moved behind her and they discreetly touched. After a few minutes, he checked his phone and saw she had texted him that very sentence at the stone he heard her voice. It was a wonderful testament that they were already communicating with each other on a higher level. They helped clean up the conference, and Elena graciously allowed James to stay in a spare bedroom at her home that night. They visited with their other friends until after midnight, and then they all went to bed. James anxiously hoped Elena would join him in the spare room. It took a while for everyone to settle into their beds, but once the house quieted down, James opened his door slightly and saw the wondrous sight of Elena approaching the room. They locked the door behind her and quickly got under the covers. She was wearing athletic shorts. And he was wearing, I'm sorry, you guys.
Ew, he was ew.
I want to paint the proper picture. So you know. Close your eyes and let Miss Amy tell you a story.
Or a nightmare.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. He was wearing his athletic shorts and she was wearing tight, thin, buttery LulaRoe leggings and a loose top. No, it just says leggings. Leggings and a loose top. They clung to each other and kissed desperately, hungrily. James placed his hands under her top and caressed her splendid breasts. She moaned happily and wrapped her legs around his waist. Only two things. Oh, I can't write. So it says only two things, layers of material separated their loins. This is how, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop right here. This is how um, sexually repressed these people are. They look at women and count the number of layers of clothing between them and somebody they're attracted to. That's really messed up in my mind. Like, I'm only 2 degrees away from the undergarments. I mean, like, it's weird, you know? I mean, like, is this a thing? Like, if you go on a date and you have on, like, I don't know, like a pea coat and a flannel and a tank top and jeans, and then the next date you just have on a cardigan and a tank top. It's like, whoa, she really likes me because we've reduced the layers. I mean, it's like, I want to peel her like an onion, baby. It's weird. Weird. Okay. So anyway, he's all like happy because he's counting the layers, and she's moaning, and let's see, only two thin layers separated their loins, and they could feel each other's most intimate body parts in detail. The intensity and spiritual vibration exceeded anything either one of them had ever felt before. They knew their spirits were actually intimately joined together, and it felt like they had left the celestial world. Elena soon got on top of James, and the rhythmic ecstasy continued for several more minutes. Toward the end, they both removed their tops and they pressed their bodies together, skin on skin. They fit together perfectly, and their kisses were deep and frenzied. Their desire for each other was beyond compare. My goodness. As a reunion in the spare room, oh my god, I got a reunion in the spare room, see you there real soon. As the reunion in the spare room came to a conclusion, Raphael knew Elena was his perfect match. They longed to stay entwined together, but it would be best to separate and get some rest. So it's best to separate, get some rest. He's rhyming again. He's a rapper. Does anybody listen rap? I want somebody to do it like a Hamilton monologue. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Okay. But by 6 a.m., James couldn't stand to be away from her any longer. He slipped into her bedroom and stood at her bedside. She was unbelievably gorgeous, and he greatly desired to join her in the bed and continue the previous night's activities. But there were other guests in the house who weren't yet aware of their sizzling love for each other. Oh my gosh. They will make a bacon. Sizzle, sizzle. So he gently touched her shoulder to awaken her. Her eyes opened, and then she reached up and grabbed his arms to pull him into the bed. He smiled, realizing she wasn't fully awake and had likely been dreaming of him. Gross.
Oh.
He simply whispered that he loved her and hoped she would go walking with him through the neighborhood. Okay. James and Elena enjoyed a walk together the previous morning along the quiet streets of her gated community. The sensual attraction between them had been intense, and they had touched shoulders and held hands as they walked. They were like magnets that couldn't be separated. She had worn exercise leggings that drove him crazy with desire. The leggings emphasized her perfectly sculpted bottom. So Chad's an ass man, let's just say it. And it took all of his willpower not to pull her to him and grasp that bottom firmly and powerfully with both hands while kissing her passionately. They went walking again the next morning. Unfortunately, a friend invited herself along. Really, Gib. And James and Elena were still completely engrossed in each other. He had to catch a flight home later that morning, but he was able to give Elena a special blessing before departing. As he placed his hands on her head, he felt their spirits connect with a surge of power. At that moment, his only desire in life was to be with her always throughout eternity, and that desire has continued to intensify. During the blessing, he was shown the great missions they would perform together. He knew this was an eternal union that would forever change the world. Tears filled his eyes to be in the presence of his holy goddess, and he was nearly overcome by the spirit as he sensed her true place in the universe as a majestic archangel. And that is the end of the story.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I know. And then this is the investigator, like what his response to this, because it's basically in memo form, right? So it says, in reading this story, the dates mentioned in the story in general were consistent with how Lori and Chad met and started their new relationship. In a follow-up message from Lori to Chad, she indicated that she loved their story. Continuing to review records, I observed numerous text messages between Lori and Chad in which they were fighting off evil spirits and were attaching themselves to others. Chad would often, in quotations, score people for Lori and talk about their propensity for being influenced by intruders. The following is a sample of his irrational and, it's difficult reading over watermarks sometimes. The following is a sample of this rationale as observed on July 22nd, 2019 and July 23rd, 2019. Chad. There are only 272 threes left. and none of them have occupied a body before. They are down to their last reserves. I'm glad I caught Elroy. His boy, Elroy.
Oh, okay. I was like, I swear to God, that's from the Jetsons.
Oh, I'm glad I caught Elroy. I feel he was aiming to hide out and then get into JJ. Oh, and that's the end of that. I'll drop this link. You guys can read it for yourself. I wouldn't have read it if it wasn't it's what they did. It's who they are, and I don't even know if I want it. Hi, difficult research. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. And I'm sorry for the, just so you know, I'm sorry for the laughter, but I get tense. And some of this is just so completely out there. I just can't with it. I was about to say, I don't want to say something. So I'm not going to say it, but I am going to sort of, if that makes sense. I think if your whole life was texting somebody that you believed you lived in Jerusalem and you were having like barbecues with Jesus and you were getting updates on how many threes were left on the earth. And it was a good thing that, you know, your lover caught Elroy in time. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I think you guys know what I'm inferring. What are you saying? At True Crime Sushi, I'll wear spandex leggings to the trial with red lips all over them.
Yeah.
You should wear them. You should wear Jolly Rancher.
I'll go through my sister's closet and take some of her LulaRoes. We can all go in style.
There you go. What will we be? We have to do a play on words. So it's not going to be LulaRoe. We know the row is going to turn into hoe somehow.
Yeah.
So you just have to figure the first part out. Or maybe we could be Moe's. I mean, that would work too. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Yes, she missed the romance novel, but I'm sure I'm probably quite relieved about that. Oh my goodness. Is that okay? Is that a dirty thing too?
An editing cult?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You guys are never wearing leggings again. That was too funny. So there you go. We know that Chad had the hots for Lori's tush. And yeah. He's a really crappy writer. And I can't imagine getting this crap on my phone every day. Like, can you imagine having to read it? It's like we sat and did it for like, you know, I don't know how long it took us really if we hadn't stopped and I just read and I wasn't being silly. But can you imagine getting that crap 2 sentences at a time? Or maybe she was just like, oh, baby, give me more. Write me more. Talk about my translated being. Talk about it.
Oh, my gosh.
Just keep saying it, please. You're making my LulaRoes. Yeah. So funny. Oh, okay. Okay, I get what she's saying. She says, we will be an effing cult. You asked what would be an autocorrected me to F-bomb. Okay, I totally get that. If any of you use Twitter, I had to delete the same tweet 5 times today because I would look at it and it'd look okay. Somehow I would hit autocorrect and it would say, I was trying to type 3-year-old because there was a 3-year-old that was found that had been missing for like 4 days. It was actually found. It was amazing. So it was like 3-year-old found. but what it kept autocorrecting to was 3 years ago found. And so I would post it because I had checked it and I would post it and it goes away, it goes off your screen. So you're like, bye. And all of a sudden my notifications come on. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, Sushi is the shiz. I'm like, I'm blowing up. I'm going viral. And people are like, you dumbass, he's for like 4 days.
Oh my God.
Okay. I went back again. It did it again. It did it like 5 times because Twitter doesn't let you edit.
Yes, I hate that.
It's a one-shot deal. They're like, I was so freaking mad. So, yeah. Yeah, we're never saying ducking. That's true. Never. And yes, Kim, there is a lot of stuff about things fitting together. Is it just Chad that's sexually repressed, or is it like?
No, it's the religion.
Okay. All right.
It is. It's a very, yeah, I mean, I guess other religions are too, but it's definitely kind of interesting considering like Joseph Smith was definitely not repressed. Like, so yeah.
Oh dear. So anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. I couldn't. I needed you. So thank you, Golden Girl style, for being a friend. And I think most people here are familiar with you, but and you should be, because the album is amazing. But I'm gonna hop over here real quick and grab your link so I can post it in chat. Go check her out. Any questions you have on the Vallow case as far as like the symbolism, the what would you call it, the doctrine, the teachings, how Lori and Chad may have been bastardizing things or misinterpreting, or whatever polite term you want to use for that. But she is the person to ask. I can't answer all those because I just don't have that experience. I'm not LDS. I didn't grow up in the church. I'm not a theologian, and my amateur answers are sometimes like okay, but like why would you ask me when you can get a really good answer from her? So here is the link. The L Mom. What is your latest video that you could tell?
It was part 2 of the Lafferty brothers, which was a case about blood atonement. Same general idea, which is where they took very old, outdated, denounced doctrines and recycled them, which is what we've seen in this case. I will say I do not have an answer to the scissors question because I have searched for that. And I know that difficult research, she searched for that. And so far, I don't think we have found anything. But if I do, I will definitely spill it.
Carnage Street wants to know if their romance is over. I don't know. Their romance will be over when somebody just throws somebody under the bus, and I feel like that's got to happen soon.
I don't think it's gonna be over for Chad anytime soon.
No. Polly the Primate. The best name. Can I ask you a non-related question? Do you have a garbage disposal in your kitchen sink, and do you consider one mandatory? I personally do. I've lived without a garbage disposal, but because we cook a lot in our house, I enjoy having one, but they can also be a pain in the rear end. And if you don't take care of them, they could be smelly. But yeah, feel free to ask things like that. I asked you how to grow out bangs. You can ask me about a garbage disposal.
Do people not have them?
No, people don't have them. I have a friend that doesn't have one, and I can't even tell you how many times I've violated her sink.
Oh.
Because I forget, I'm like, because I'm not used to it. Like our kids will be like eating together, and I go and I dump like macaroni cheese in there, and she's like, no. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, you gotta get, like, I don't understand. Like, let's, we talked about the Jetsons and Elmer tonight. Let's kick it back to Fred Flintstone. You need to get like a hamster down there or something. Like, I mean,
That is so weird. I have a garbage disposal story that will lighten the mood a little bit if
okay,
you want to hear it.
I
Okay.
definitely want to hear it.
So when I first met my wife, I sold Scentsy. I don't know if everybody knows what Scentsy is, but it's an MLM. I know, surprising. I live in Utah and I sold an MLM product. But I'm not a dumb person, but I'm forgetful and kind of ditzy, especially when I have something on my mind. And I took the burner and I just dumped the wax into my disposal.
Oh no.
And didn't think anything of it, like, because it's like liquid.
Right.
And then like the next day, like she called me, we were talking on the phone. I'm like, something is wrong with my disposal. It won't work. I lived in a brand new house. I just built it. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I know it's a good disposal. And she came over and like took my sink apart and was like, what's this orange stuff? And I'm like, I don't know, fungus. She's like, no, it's candle wax. It's from your Scentsy.
Oh no. How did you get it out?
She did. How did you get it out?
I just dug it out.
She dug it out, she says.
It wasn't in your disposal, it was in the other drain.
It was in the other drain.
Oh my gosh. The other night, like, well, my stepkids are like, it's like 50-50 custody. So they're going between the houses all the time. We don't live close together. So like when I drop them off and pick them up at school, it's like an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half another way, sit at home for 5 hours. I don't really sit at home, but you know what I mean? And then I get back in my car and do it again. And on Fridays, it's even worse because one has early release, and so I leave my house and drive the hour and a half, then pick that kid up, and it's 2.5 hours till I can pick up the second one. And then we have an hour and a half back to the house. So, not that you guys asked, but the other night I got like a message from the school at the last minute, and it said they wear uniforms. So it said, like they had to wear orange the next day. Like it was a spirit day, but basically what they're saying is like, now this is your uniform for the day. You have to wear orange. It's anti-bullying month. And of course we didn't have anything orange. And so it's like 8:00 at night. So I'm like running out to Target, look for something orange. And you would think it would be easy to find because it's like Halloween and fall, but like, no, Target's like, we don't sell regular orange because we're trying to be cool. So we're selling like something that looks like in a diaper orange, or
Burnt orange.
Yes, they were pukey colors. So I buy the pukey color. I actually find like something that's sort of safety orange in the boys department or the men's department, and I bought an extra small. And we came home and we tried to do, she wanted to decorate it to match some leggings. And we tried to do that bleach thing, where you put a stencil down or whatever. And I was like, go light. But, they don't listen. So now we have a brand new sweatshirt that we bought at Target in the middle of the night with like a big bleach stain. So I'm like, and she's like, I think if you wash it, it'll show up, it'll look nice. And I was like, yeah, no, it won't. That's okay. Sweet dreams, lovey. So in the middle of the night, I painted like this like sugar skull thing on it, kind of, I don't know, more like not a sugar skull, more like they call it a Katrina. So I did the frame and all this stuff, and I used colors that matched the leggings. And I was like, oh, like, this was kind of a happy accident. It looks kind of cool. And then I thought to myself, I dabbed off extra paint, with paper towels. And I thought, just to make sure everything looks so lovely, I should probably put this in the dryer.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know what I was doing till 4:30 in the morning? Cleaning paint out of my dryer.
Oh.
Cleaning paint out of my dryer. And I was like, oh, I should probably put this in the dryer. So I put it in the dryer. And then I went to bed. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I should probably put this in the dryer.
Yeah.
It was freaking everywhere. And I had to go to work. I had to drive them to school the next morning, and I had to work 12 hours. I slept 48 minutes because I had the magic eraser. And then in the morning, Chris is like, I'm like kind of telling him what's going on. And he's like, he's like, do we live in the burning bed? He's like, would I beat you? He's like, I don't, he's like, why would you do that? But I think it's because when you have ADD and you make a big mistake like that, it's really humiliating. Like you can laugh at it later, but in a moment, for me anyway, it's humiliating. It's like, because other people, not my husband, but other people will say to you, like, don't you have a brain in your head? Or, oh, she's so smart, but she's got no common sense. Just like, okay, thanks.
Yes.
So yeah, it's terrible when you make those mistakes, like you said. Like you're just not even. I don't want to say it's that you're not thinking. It's just that things are going so fast, and you're not in that moment. Like I literally had like a little smile on my face, like I'm stupid stepmom when I was throwing that thing in the dryer. I'm so good. I'm like a Pinterest mom. Come at me.
Yeah, I'm awesome. Yeah,
I mean, make cookie cutter sandwiches now.
Yes, I mean, you live with someone that's very logical, very even keel. Very like common sense. They just look at you like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, I had 20 things on my mind, and apparently this wasn't the most important. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm always thinking about the next thing I have to do and reprioritizing in my mind. And so, like, I didn't even think, Pat. I thought, I'm a super mom. I painted the sweatshirt, and look at how, not because I'm not like this, but I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I pulled that off. Because, it was, I guess to me, it was kind of upsetting to go out late at night on a school night and try to get something orange and then have your plan not work. And then you're like, I just ruined, and I don't care if it's $5 or $40, I just ruined something.
Yeah.
And then I fixed it. And I was like, hell yeah, I can do this.
Yes.
And then I screwed up my dryer.
Oh
my gosh. But yeah, if you ever get paint inside your dryer, a magic eraser is your best friend.
Oh, good to know.
I know. I'm full of tips. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you and good night.
All right.
And I want to do it again sometime, please, and thank you.
Yes, anytime.
All right. Have a good night. And what are you on next? When are you doing are you doing a live anytime soon? You want to promote something?
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing a live on Crush's channel tomorrow night, which is difficult research. And we're going to talk about some of the things that have come out, the videos, documents, stuff like that, and talk about her perspective and how she feels. And I don't know how detailed it can be because of, the adjudication, and this is a lot of stuff that they're releasing, but yeah, so I'm going to be over there for that. And
awesome.
It'll be nice to hear from someone that is personally affected by everything. So
definitely. I just posted her link in the chat. So let's all mosey over there tomorrow night and not only support our friends and other people that are ethical and credible on YouTube and build that community, but also get a great show for free, by the way. So that's pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will see you there tomorrow night. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, Sushi crew. I'm going to wrap this up in just 1 second. Carnage Street says oh my goodness, you baked cookies for your stepdaughter's birthday for school right after we got married, and the teacher sent them home. Oh. Yeah, they have all kinds of rules about that too. Sometimes it's just, sometimes it's just because they have to, I don't know. Our schools make you show a receipt and it can't be opened and you can't make them at home and all that. Heather and Oz says, no horny dreams, ladies. I know the story was. And Melmac is going to have nightmares, he says. Don't let Chad have that power. Don't let him. You are very welcome, Kresha. We will see you tomorrow night. And everybody go over when you check our link. I know you probably are already, but if you're not, you should subscribe. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Hit the notification bell. And same for the Almom and Web Snooze. And on that note, my sweet friends, thank you as always for supporting me. And let's see. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I know that sometimes I could be a little rough around the edges and a little silly. I'm working on it. I'm trying to find my little place in this, like what this channel is going to be. I'm always going to say this to you guys. If you have suggestions, if you have corrective criticism, anything like that, please send it to me. I am extremely approachable. I have all my contact information in the description. You can find me at True Crime Sushi on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at Crime Sushi. My email address is simply my first name at truecrimesushi.com. A lot of you message me on a daily basis through Facebook Messenger or via email. I love that. I also love discussing our lives and our live streams, I should say, our live streams in the comments of the videos and on the YouTube community page. I want to kind of try to keep it all in one place. And so please feel free to pose questions there. I'm pretty good about responding in a timely fashion to all of that stuff. And I love the interaction because that's my goal right now. I have little goals, and I think my first one is to build that rapport with you guys and to build those relationships with you guys. And together we'll build this channel. So on that note, my lovelies, I'm going to say what I have said a couple times before. I may or may not be successful tonight. I'm struggling with the production part of this channel. So I'm going to try to run my outro successfully. And then one night I'm just going to do it. It's going to be like buttery leggings and it'll all work. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do hit the notification bell so you never miss a live. If you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, that would be great. And until then, Sushi Crew, I'll see you on the flip side. No wasabi and good night. Okay, that was a fake ending, you guys. I forgot to thank my moderators, and that's really important. And I'm so sorry for that. Please forgive me. Thank you to Ping and Tambra, Rain Dancer, Trisha Griffith of Webstu's Live, who has been incredibly supportive of me. Thank you, everybody that was down there tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm really sorry that I didn't do that. I told you, one of these days I'll get this right. It's always going to be something, but I'll own my mistakes and I will correct them. So here we go again.